Hi, it's T. Carlson here. I love a good horror movie, and when it comes to horror movies, there's not much better than Stephen King adaptations. And several years ago, we got the second adaptation of one of King's longest and most famous novels, It, featuring the villainous Pennywise the Clown. Today, we're going to take a look at, from 2017, It, the first film of the two-movie adaptation, which continued with It Chapter 2 in 2019. I'm going to unbox this release, and I will share my opinions. This is a Steelbook release of the film. I believe this was a Best Buy exclusive Steelbook. I no longer have the original backing card or anything like that, but I'll show off what's here anyway. The front cover is a nice shot of Pennywise the Clown in black and white. You got the title of the film in that jagged font in red. That looks very nice. Here's the spine. Again, the title logo of the film there. Back cover's got Georgie's boat, which of course leads to the infamous opening scene. And we do get two discs in this package. We get the film on Blu-ray, and we of course also get the film in 4K. In here we have that scene I was talking about earlier, where of course you have Georgie going to get his boat and Pennywise lurking in the sewer. That is kind of hard to see on the camera because of the glare, but it looks very nice. It is set in the year 1989. Young Georgie goes chasing after his boat and is dragged under to his death by Pennywise the Clown. It's not long before youths of the town, including the older brother of the late Georgie, begin having haunting visions of things happening around town, including being terrorized by Pennywise the Clown, who apparently feeds on the souls of children. It's up to the local youths to unite to deal with many of their problems, including the threat posed by Pennywise, so that they can prevent this menace from happening to anyone else, and of course preventing Georgie's fate from reoccurring. I had never read the original novel, It. Apparently it's over 1,000 pages, so I don't know if I could set aside the time to do that if I wanted to, but I was happy to see that this was getting a feature film adaptation, technically two movies because it's a two-part story. And in the director's chair, we have Andy Muschietti. I hope I'm pronouncing that name right. In more recent years, he directed The Flash, based on the DC Comics character. And I have to say, this movie, from when I first saw it in theaters back in 2017, really impressed me. Stephen King adaptations are a hot commodity in Hollywood. They were back in the day, and they are still hot commodities now. So it's not surprising we're getting not only a lot of Stephen King film adaptations, but also remakes of earlier adaptations of Stephen King works. It had previously been adapted as a television miniseries that starred the likes of Seth Green and John Ritter, and of course featured Tim Curry portraying Pennywise the Clown. That was quite groundbreaking for its era. While certainly dated, it did push the envelope of what filmmakers could do with a television miniseries. This new adaptation, however, tops the original with much better production, a much more haunting atmosphere, and a great cast of actors. The thing that really impressed me about this version of It was the youth actors in the film. Of course, we have Jaden Martell as the main boy, or as he was known at the time, Jaden Lieberer, before he changed his name. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. And it's just an all-around great cast of young actors, and you get to see them interacting throughout the film, both as friends and, of course, in situations of complete and utter terror. This is actually reminiscent of Stand By Me, which was also based on a Stephen King adaptation. But of course, the film doesn't skimp on the violence and the terror. It is rated R, and it certainly earns that rating. When this movie wants to deliver the scares, it does it in fine form. It's beautifully shot, beautifully produced, and despite a runtime of just over 2 hours, the movie never does overstay its welcome. This was followed up in 2019 with It Chapter 2, although I think the sequel paled in comparison to the original, because it suffered from things like poor pacing and a rather anticlimactic conclusion. That said, though, this first film of the two was a masterpiece unto itself, certainly one of the best Stephen King adaptations ever made, and one I was very happy to add to my collection. Being a relatively modern production and on a 4K disc, I'm happy to report that it looks absolutely fantastic in 4K Ultra High Def. Fans of the movie will be impressed with, of course, the deep dark black levels, the wide array of colors when it's needed, and pretty much everything else that 4K does. This is a fantastic looking disc. We do get several behind the scenes making of featurettes on the disc as well, and it's good to see things like this. I'm glad they didn't just slap these discs in a case and call it a day. We at least get a few things on here, and even if a lot of them are fairly basic EPK type stuff, It's stuff you'll want to watch at least once. Fans of Stephen King or horror movies in general should be pretty impressed with this adaptation of It. Bill Skarsgård has certainly found the role of his career and plays the titular villain quite excellently. Were you a fan of It and its follow-up, It Chapter 2? Do you think these top the original 1990 miniseries adaptation? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, remember to subscribe to this channel for more content, because we're always posting new videos, and make sure you give this one a like if you found it helpful. I'm Taylor T. Carlson. I'll see you next time.